Hey everybody, whatever happened to that car salesman you remember that sold you that lemon when you were a kid? It was your first car, you know, that lemon, that car that looked freshly washed and waxed and everything was shiny and looked brand new, but it left you broke down on the side of the road. Well, that guy's still around, and he's trying to sell you theology now, using the same methods pretty much, showcasing the pluses and concealing the minuses. And you know, that's what salesmen do. I work for an e-commerce industry, and that's pretty much, I've had a chance to see how some of these big companies operate. Some of the biggest companies, actually, some of the biggest retailers, whether it be clothing or cosmetic or what have you, in the country. And I've seen how they advertise their stuff, and what they always do is they always make it out to be more than what it really is. This is something you got to watch out for, because one thing I've found in all of my studies and all my readings over the years is I found out that most philosophy is bluff, most theology is bluff, and they bluff you into accepting a system. And one of the things that they do, especially theologians do, is when they write a book or they present a theory or whatever, they always try to put their rabbinical credentials right on the main page, so that you know before you even begin to read that
they're supposed to be the experts, right?
So that they know what they're talking about. Then you start getting into other inconsistencies and their irregularities, and that's when you start to have questions. But you know, these guys, if they're slick salesmen, they can usually ride over that. They can usually, you just don't understand, the covenant, the mechanics or whatever. There's something that you don't understand, and that's why you're seeing all these irregularities. Of course, if they can't
explain details,
then that's a problem in itself, isn't it? Because you need to have details. You need to be able to explain those details. Who ever heard of an art critic going to an auction and, finding a really, wonderful painting? Oh, this is from one of the old masters. And they got to look at the details, right? They got to make sure it's from one of the old masters. Well, these brush strokes don't line up with how this artist did his work. This is a copy. This isn't the real thing. You have to have a sort of critical acumen in order to detect these things. Well, these fast, slick, shady salesmen of full preterism, they expect you not to have. They don't want you to have that critical acumen. They don't want you to have that critical faculty whereby you can take a look at their the details of what they're spinning, and see, this isn't real. This isn't true gospel. This is spurious. This isn't authentic gospel truth. This is something spurious. This is something counterfeit. Salesmanship is rather a racket than anything else. It should be treated as a racket, but some people, they're just so gullible, they'll accept anything. There's a guy I know, see him post every once in a while on Don Preston's forum, and he's like, basically,
oh, Brother Don I don't see how anybody can not understand what Brother Don says. He always gives scripture.
Problem is, if you're not looking at what he's saying, looking at his conclusions, and then seeing how he arrives at those conclusions, then yeah, sure, you're going to buy what he's selling because it all makes sense, right? You have never explored the finer mechanics of what it is he's saying. That's a big problem, because you have
to look at logical method too.
It's not just about, stringing together scriptures. A kid can do that. That's an amateur theologian right there. Of course, don't read the scriptures in context. That's not good, right? You have to look at context. You have to look at logical method. You have to look at details. Milton Terry, who's probably one of the more important preterist commentators, he said, no, the details don't count. It's the general effect that you have to look at. Anyways, I didn't want to beat you over the head this morning. I wanted to do this real quick. I don't have time for a lot of long, drawn-out studies, although we'll probably get into that, as time goes on. But, yeah, that's pretty much what I had this morning. Is watch out for those slick, shady salesmen, because they're going to sell you something that might get you might win you a few, road races, but they're not going to get you out to California. They'll leave you broke down on the side of the road. So that's it for this morning. Have a great, wonderful, fantastic day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.